Today we're installing a Vent A hood liner into a kitchen. It is a BH240 SLD SS. Here we're looking at a TK kit. This is included with the ventilation hood liner. It is going to conceal the screws on the wall so they're not visible. You will find the manufacturer offers an SLD, a PSLD, and a PSLB variety. Now the SLD is going to be 19¼ inches deep. Once your contractor builds the box out of 3/4 inch material, it's going to project 22 inches into the kitchen. On the PSLD, once your contractor builds the box, it's going to project 24 inches into the kitchen. The PSLB is a variety of hoods that has straight sides. This is so that they could fit one extra motor in this particular model. It is also a 24-inch depth model once your contractor builds the box surround. This SLD liner is going to give us enough capture at 22 inches to cover this drop-in cooktop, since the front burner edge and 1.5 inches gets us to about 20.5 inches. We just want to make sure that this liner is deep enough to give us capture when cooking on the front burner. For this Pro Depth Capital Connoisseurian range, I'm looking at the PSLD 24-inch depth liner from Vent A hood. That is the depth that's going to give me adequate capture when cooking on the front burners, since we have this measurement of 22.5 inches when adding 1.5 inches to the front edge of that burner. We're going to need something deeper than the 22-inch SLD liner for this model. We're at 19¼ deep, and our width on this particular model is 40 3/8. So a quick overview of these Vent A hood model numbers. If you're looking at a BH228, that's a 28 3/8 width, 30 inches once your contractor builds the box. Using the BH240 as an example, it's 40 3/8 width, 42 inches wide once your contractor builds the box. So you can figure out which model number is going to be suitable for your cooktop. We're using flat wall galvanized steel and articulating elbows for this installation. You can find this from sheet metal manufacturers and Home Depot. We don't want to use flex pipe. It's against code in most areas, and high velocity air tends to make a lot of noise when traveling through this flex pipe. We want to caution you not to reduce the duct pipe diameter. As with any ventilation hood, this will have an impact on the exhausting air. It'll give you a loss of suction. So we want to follow the pipe diameter for this particular hood we're installing today. That is 8-inch diameter round. And if we are combining multiple air streams on a 3 or 4 blower hood, we use the manufacturer's production transition to properly combine those air streams. Here's the box that our contractor built in the project. It is going to be an outside width of 42, inside width of 40 3/8. I see that he's left an outlet up here, and this is actually against code in California. Typically in these boxes, you have no removable panel, so you can't access them later. And years down the road, if that outlet had some type of issue, it's not serviceable. You'd have to drop the whole ventilation hood inside the house to get to it. So we'd rather see from the attic space some Romex that's coming down from this attic line down into the top of the hood and secured with a strain relief, so the electrical connection is happening inside the hood. For this duct run, I'm going to be using 2 45-degree turns that I'm going to make out of my adjustable elbows. And as we go outside here, you're going to see it's going up into a ceiling line, and I'm going to have the roofing guys cut a hole up there for my roof cap. Here I'm just removing this blue shipping tape. You're going to notice it's securing this Easy Clean heat shield to this blower housing. Furthermore, we'll find some more blue tape holding these gravity opening dampers down. You'll want to remove this tape. Here you'll identify a sticker that has you removing this black motor. As I mentioned, this product has a junction box built within itself, and so we need to attach a strain relief and do our final electrical connection behind this black motor. Here's a look at the strain relief I use. It's about the size of a quarter. You're going to back this tensioning nut off. This is how we screw down the Romex wires feeding the top of the hood. Now this electrical needs to be tucked into this hole. You definitely don't want to make your electrical connections above this hole, because then if there's a service concern later, the whole hood has to be removed in order to get to the electrical. We want the electrical connections within this box behind the motor and the Romex secured down. Now you're also going to notice up here these two tiny holes. These are air holes for our two vent hood motors. We want to be very cautious when taping down the collar to the top ring because we don't want to tape those air holes over with metal tape. So here's what that would look like. Your Romex, you have two Phillips screws, you tighten them down so that this Romex is going to stay in place for you, and it's going to feed into this junction box where we make our electrical connection. Important note that usually this is done once the hood is in place, and I'm doing this here on the counter just as a demonstration for you guys. Now we're taking our tensioning nut here around the three Romex wires inside the blower box here and screwing it down so that it's secure on top of the hood. So here we're putting the smooth side of the pipe just inside this ring, this 8-inch diameter collar, and we are going to metal tape the outside of this collar. And I'm also going to metal tape each one of these joints of the articulating elbow if I have this luxury, if I'm able to access it from an attic space, or I can even reach up inside the hood and do metal tape on our inner joints after this hood's installed. After the hood's installed, one thing we don't want to do is put the crimped end down, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The crimped end, because it's bent inward in a lot of cases, that might interfere with the damper opening, but more importantly, the crimped end should be facing away from the exhausting air. And as we take a look inside this pipe, you can see each time you stack two pipes together, you get these tiny little air pockets, and what you want is these air pockets facing away from the high velocity exhausting air. High velocity air can make its way into these little pockets and tend to make the hood sound louder. So you want these little pockets facing away from the high velocity exhausting air. Here we have the screws that are going to be installing our hood. This is called the TK kit, and we have these dual washers. One fits the head of the screw, and then you put a flat washer underneath. So I like to get all these prepared and ready to go. So when my hood is up in the cavity, I'm literally just screwing these in around the radius, all four sides of the hood. Here we have our roofer who's cutting a penetration for me in the top of the roof so I can actually get my duct in place before the hood goes up into the hole. Now I've actually dry fit my ducting into this space between the top of the hood and the roof line. This is a shot from the roof line looking down and the duct pipe going into the kitchen. And basically I'm just going to trim this down to the appropriate size for the roof cap that I'm using. In a lot of cases, you just cut it to the right size ahead of time. It just all depends on the type of roof cap that you're using. As I mentioned in earlier steps, I can cut small pieces of metal tape, and I can reach from underneath this hood up inside this vent pipe to seal various spots of the ducting from down below as far as my arm can reach up into that space. This can also be done in segments from the attic as you build the duct pipe up to the ceiling line, but a good piece of metal tape here sealing the bottom of the duct pipe, the trunk of the duct pipe into this collar. Here we have our TK kit screws, and now I'm taking the time to go all the way around and put them in each hole. I caution people not to over tighten these because occasionally the box that's made might be slightly bigger than the hood, and if you go torquing every screw down all the way down, it can tweak the metal a bit. And the end stage of this, we need to fit the TK kit strip in there. Now I sometimes use a slightly longer screw if I need to, just making sure I'm not torquing down the liner edges so it's tweaking the metal, which will make it harder to install this TK kit in our finishing stage. If you guys are in the market for a hood, visit kitchenfoundry.com. Please like and subscribe for more product videos, installation videos. We appreciate you guys. Now we're just going to be installing this piece of metal that's part of our trim kit over the screws so that none of these screw tips are visible. It gives it a very clean look after installation's complete. It's just three sides because the foremost edge of this hood is not visible. So you just have 3 pieces of metal trim to snap into place. Visit kitchenfoundry.com for a full selection of vent A hood. We can ship you a stock hood, or we can actually order a custom hood with a lead time to fit any enclosure. The newest product we're shipping does have round control knobs, and so you have 2 motors here that automatically adjust based on temperature. So visit us at kitchenfoundry.com, 949-275-4496. You can ask me questions here in this video, or you can give us a call. Check out my other videos on YouTube, ducting do's and don'ts, for other installation tips. Thanks for stopping in.